Politics and Ivy got tales to share. Life in general, we go everywhere. From politics to soul repair. Tune in now, we got time to spare.
Welcome in, everybody, to another deep dive. And this one is going to be interesting. I don't know about you, but I'm really fascinated by David Lynch.
Yeah, he's definitely a unique figure in the film world, that's for sure.
Definitely. So we got a couple of YouTube sources from you out there. One is an interview with Lynch from the Film Festival Cologne, and the other is a talk he did at UC Berkeley.
Nice.
And in both, he talks about his life, his artistic journey, his influences, and most interestingly to me, transcendental meditation.
Yeah, his dedication to TM is pretty remarkable, especially how it ties into his creative process. He sees it as a direct line to what he calls pure consciousness.
Right. And I have to admit, going into this, I knew Lynch was into TM, but I had no idea how central it was to his whole worldview.
Yeah, it goes way beyond just relaxation for him. It's a tool, a technology he uses to access a deeper level of creativity and peace.
So let's start at the beginning with his journey into filmmaking. Because even before TM, there's something about his approach that's so unconventional, so open to the unexpected. I mean, the story about his broken Bolex camera is a perfect example.
Oh, yeah, totally. I was blown away by that, too. It was like he was being handed a blank canvas and told, just create.
Right, he's working on this commission project, and the camera malfunctions. And most people would be freaking out, right?
Yeah.
But he calls up the client, and the guy's like, make whatever you want.
Wow. Talk about creative freedom. That's pretty rare, especially early in your career.
For real. What do you think that says about Lynch's approach to creativity? Like, is he just naturally adaptable, or is there something more intentional going on there?
I think it's both. You know, there's definitely this sense that he's open to embracing whatever comes his way, but there's also this underlying philosophy at work. This idea that obstacles aren't roadblocks. They're invitations to explore new possibilities.
And that broken Bolex led to The Alphabet, right? Which is a short film that already shows hints of his signature style.
Absolutely. It's got this mix of live action and animation, this unsettling atmosphere. It's like he's already tapping into those darker, more surreal impulses that would later define his work.
And speaking of unsettling, think about the story of Alan Splatt, his longtime sound engineer, walking off the set of Blue Velvet because the scenes were literally making him sick.
Yeah, what does that tell you about the kind of atmosphere Lynch creates on set?
It's intense, to say the least, but it also underscores the importance of sound in his work.
Right.
It's not just an afterthought. It's an integral part of the experience.
Oh, for sure. It's like he understands the power of what you hear to evoke those deep, primal emotions, even more so than what you see sometimes.
Exactly. It's not just about jump scares or loud noises. It's about creating this sense of unease, this underlying tension that gets under your skin.
And he uses sound to create texture, to build atmosphere, to transport you to another world.
Right. And now tie that into his concept of pure consciousness, which he talks about a lot in the Berkeley talk.
Oh, yeah. He believes that ideas come from this deeper level of awareness, this unified field that he accesses through transcendental meditation.
He describes it as a field of solutions, a place where all possibilities exist.
And it's not like he's actively searching for ideas. It's more about clearing the noise, quieting the mind, and allowing those ideas to emerge organically.
Like a television set going off in the brain, he says.
Exactly. It's this intuitive process that's guided by something deeper than his conscious mind.
So do you think this reliance on intuition rather than traditional brainstorming is what makes his work so distinct, so unpredictable?
I think it plays a huge role. There's the sense that he's not trying to force anything. He's letting the ideas flow, letting the story unfold in its own way.
And that's where the surreal elements, the dream logic, the unsettling juxtapositions come in.
Right. It's like he's tapping into something primal, something beyond our rational understanding.
And it's not just him working in isolation either.
Yeah.
He's known for collaborating with certain actors and composers over and over again.
Oh, yeah. Like Laura Dern, Kyle MacLachlan, and of course, Angelo Badalamenti.
That's right. His relationship with Badalamenti is particularly fascinating. It's almost like they have this telepathic connection.
Yeah, right. Like Lynch would hum melodies and Badalamenti would translate them into these incredible scores that perfectly captured the mood and atmosphere of the films.
It's amazing how they were able to create this unique sonic world together, this blend of beauty and darkness that's so signature Lynch.
And it's not just the music itself, it's how it's used in the films. The way it can heighten the tension or create a sense of unease or even just add a layer of strangeness to an otherwise ordinary scene.
Right, like that scene in Blue Velvet where Dorothy Vallon sings Blue Velvet in this dimly lit club.
It's so unsettling, so hypnotic. It's like the music itself is a character in the film.
Absolutely. And that unsettling feeling often extends to his characters, too.
Yeah.
Right. They're complex, often harboring dark secrets beneath these seemingly normal exteriors.
Yeah, like Frank Booth, the character Dennis Hopper played in Blue Velvet. It's hard to imagine anyone else bringing that level of intensity and unpredictability to the role.
Right. And it's interesting that Lynch doesn't write roles with specific actors in mind. He focuses on the characters themselves and then looks for actors who can embody them.
It's a testament to his ability to connect with actors, to draw out these nuanced performances, and it probably helps that he's open to improvisation on set, allowing actors to contribute their own ideas.
He's not just a director. He's a collaborator, creating a space where creative magic can happen.
Exactly. And speaking of magic, one of the things I find most fascinating about Lynch is his refusal to explain the meaning behind his work.
Oh, yeah. He's all about letting the audience experience it for themselves, to interpret it in their own way.
He even hates directors' commentaries. He calls them a huge, giant sadness.
He's like, trust yourself. Trust your experience. Don't let anyone tell you what to think.
He's not interested in spoon-feeding interpretations. He wants to evoke a feeling, to spark a conversation, and leave the audience with more questions than answers.
Which can be frustrating for some viewers, I'm sure. But it's also what makes his film so compelling. They stay with you, they haunt you, they make you think.
And that's a powerful thing in a world saturated with easily digestible content. Lynch is demanding something more from his audience engagement reflection, a willingness to embrace the unknown.
It's a challenge I think a lot of us are ready for. But before we get too deep into his films, I want to circle back to transcendental meditation, because it's clearly more than just a personal practice for him. It's about consciousness and creating a better world.
You're totally right. It's not just about art. It's about tapping into something bigger, something that connects us all.
And that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned. So we were talking about how important transcendental meditation is to David Lynch and how it seems to influence his creative process.
And you know, it's funny because his films often explore these dark, surreal themes, but he sees TM as a path to peace and enlightenment.
It's like he's holding these two seemingly opposite ideas in his head at the same time.
Right, like the darkness and the light, and maybe that's what makes his work so compelling.
It's definitely a unique perspective. And I think it ties into his willingness to embrace the unexpected, to let go of control and allow things to unfold organically.
Like that story about how he ended up using his own house in Lost Highway.
Oh, yeah. That's a great example. It all started with this creepy phone call, someone saying Dick Laurent is dead, and then hanging up.
Sounds like a scene from one of his movies.
Totally. And it turns out this unsettling incident ended up influencing the film. He was looking for a house with a specific layout for a crucial scene, but he couldn't find the right one.
And what happened?
Well, as fate would have it, a house just down the street from him went up for sale, and it had the exact layout he needed.
No way. Talk about synchronicity.
It's almost too perfect, like something out of Twin Peaks.
Right, and it makes you wonder if those ideas he talks about really do just appear when he's open to them.
I think so. He's not forcing things. He's creating the conditions for those happy accidents to happen.
And that openness to the unexpected also seems to be a key part of his process when he's working with a continuing story format like Twin Peaks.
Definitely. He's not beholden to a predetermined plot. He can let the story breathe, allow for detours and digressions, and that creates a lot of space for collaboration.
Right. It's not just him dictating every detail. It's a more organic process where he's working with the actors, the writers, the other directors to create something truly unique.
It's like he's conducting an orchestra, bringing all these different elements together to create this harmonious, albeit unsettling symphony.
And that collaborative spirit is also evident in his work with actors. He seems to have a real knack for choosing the right people for the roles.
Oh, absolutely. Think about Laura Dern. He gave her first major role in Blue Velvet, and they've worked together on so many amazing projects since then.
It's like they have this shared artistic vision, this willingness to push boundaries and explore the darker sides of human nature.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, The Straight Story was such a departure for him. It's a beautiful, heartwarming film, a far cry from this surreal darkness of something like Eraserhead or Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, it just shows his range as a filmmaker. He's not afraid to experiment, to explore different genres and emotional landscapes.
And yet, even in The Straight Story, there's still that lynching touch, that quiet, meditative quality, that attention to detail.
And that fascination with the American landscape.
Right, the vast emptiness of the Midwest. The open road as a symbol of both freedom and danger.
It's like he sees something both beautiful and unsettling in those wide open spaces.
And that duality is something we see again and again in his work. The darkness and the light, the beauty and the grotesque, the ordinary and the surreal.
It's like he's showing us the full spectrum of human experience, the good, the bad, and everything in between.
And he's not afraid to make us uncomfortable, to challenge our perceptions and make us question everything we thought we knew about the world.
And he does it all with such a unique style, such a mastery of cinematic language.
He's not just telling stories. He's creating worlds that you can step into and get completely lost in.
And part of what makes those worlds so immersive is his use of sound.
Oh, absolutely. He's a master of sound design. He uses it to create texture, to build tension, to transport you to another reality.
Think about the industrial sounds in Eraserhead, the haunting score of Twin Peaks, the unsettling ambient noises in Lost Highway.
It's like he's using sound to create a world that's both familiar and utterly alien.
And he's not just interested in the sounds themselves, but the silences in between. Those moments of quiet anticipation can be just as unnerving as the jarring noises.
It's a brilliant way to keep the audience on edge, to make them lean in and wonder what's coming next.
And then there's his use of color.
Yeah.
It's so deliberate, so evocative.
Yeah, think about Dorothy Vallon's apartment in Blue Velvet, bathed in that eerie red light.
It's like the color itself is a character in the film, adding to the sense of danger and unease.
And in Mulholland Drive, the vibrant colors of Los Angeles become this symbol of both allure and decay.
It's like he's showing us the hidden underbelly of the American dream, the darkness lurking beneath the surface of glamour and success.
And he does it all with such visual flair, such a mastery of cinematic language.
He's not just telling a story. He's creating an experience, a world that you step into and feel completely immersed in. So we've talked a lot about the dark and surreal elements in David Lynch's films, but it's fascinating how he balances that with this deep commitment to transcendental meditation and this vision of a more peaceful world.
Right. It's like these two sides of him, the artist who explores the shadows and the advocate for inner peace. They're both so essential to who he is.
Yeah, and for Lynch, it's not a contradiction. It's all connected. TM isn't just about personal enlightenment for him. It's about transforming the world.
And he's really put his money where his mouth is. He founded the David Lynch Foundation to bring TM to at-risk populations like veterans and those who have experienced trauma.
Yeah, it's clear this is a mission for him. He believes that if enough people tap into that field of pure consciousness, it can create a ripple effect of peace and harmony throughout the world.
It's a bold vision for sure. But it makes sense when you consider his artistic philosophy. He's always searching for those deeper connections, those hidden patterns beneath the surface.
And maybe he sees TM as a way to tap into a collective consciousness, a unified field that connects us all.
Right, and in the Berkeley talk, he describes TM as a way to dissolve negativity, to access a deeper level of creativity and peace.
He even says that true happiness lies within, suggesting that it's not something we find out in the world, but something we cultivate within ourselves.
And I think that idea ties into his films in a way. His characters are often searching for something, for meaning, for connection, and sometimes that search leads them to some pretty dark places.
But even in his darkest films, there are these glimmers of hope, moments of transcendence, characters who find redemption, or at least a sense of peace.
Like in The Straight Story. It's a simple story on the surface, but it's ultimately about forgiveness, reconciliation, and the beauty of human connection.
It's like he's saying that even in a world filled with darkness, there's still goodness to be found.
And maybe that goodness can be cultivated through practices like TM. It's about accessing a deeper level of awareness, a more compassionate way of being in the world.
And he believes that if enough people embrace this kind of inner work, it can create a more peaceful and harmonious society.
He even talks about the concept of a peace-creating group, a group of people practicing advanced meditation techniques together to amplify that field of unity and radiate peace outward.
It's a pretty radical idea. But Lynch is clearly committed to it. He's putting his time, energy, and resources into making it a reality.
And you know, even if you're skeptical about some of his ideas, you have to admire his passion, his unwavering belief in the power of human consciousness to create positive change.
He's not just talking about it, he's taking action, using his platform to inspire others to join the movement.
And ultimately, I think that's what makes David Lynch such a compelling figure. He's not afraid to challenge us, to make us uncomfortable, to push the boundaries of what's possible.
He's an artist, a filmmaker, an advocate, and above all, a seeker. Someone who's always exploring the depths of human experience and searching for a better way forward.
And I think we can all learn something from that willingness to dive deep, to question everything, and to never stop searching for truth and meaning.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of David Lynch, I hope you've enjoyed the journey. It's been a wild ride for sure.
Absolutely. He's a filmmaker who stays with you long after the credits roll. His films, they make you think, they make you feel, they make you question everything.
Maybe that's the point, to shake us out of our complacency and make us look at the world in a new way.
So thanks for joining us on this exploration of David Lynch's life work and philosophy.
We hope it's inspired you to explore your own creativity, your own inner world, and your own potential to make a difference in the world.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Alex and Ivy got tales to share. Life in general, we go everywhere. From politics to soul repair. Tune in now, we got time to spare.